JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They don't read any of the comments. They talk down to us. They say this all the time. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to and that we're really excited to be part of. So without further ado, let's get to it. Watching a clip from the Herd with Nick Wright, and they're going to talk about the Bucks and the Eagles and the Chiefs and what went wrong in Philly and all this fun stuff. Let's unpack it.
First things first joins us. All right, Herd hierarchy. I have Buffalo, KC. I think it's the same thing. I do think the Ken Dorsey firing, they do feel like a little bit more, their offense has a little more dexterity to it. They're not as...
All right, so that's the Herd hierarchy. Ravens 1, 49ers 2, Bills 3, Chiefs 4, Lions, Packers, Texans, Bucks 8. Well, I'm going to be a little, okay, listen. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is Andy Reid. But if we're basing this Herd hierarchy just based off of how they all played last week, obviously the Ravens and the 49ers didn't play. The Ravens are absolutely number one, and the 49ers, I don't know. I think it's a toss-up between the Bills and the 49ers, honestly, between the two of them. And then when it comes to the Chiefs, I don't know if I put them at 4. I think the only real question mark for the Lions is the coach Dan Campbell. I think besides that, I think I would maybe have to put the Lions at 4 or put them, next to the Chiefs. And then honestly, it's like, to some degree, I think it's a 4-way tie between the Chiefs, the Lions, the Packers, and the Texans. All their pros and cons overlap in a way that kind of really equate them. You potentially give the benefit of the doubt because Mahomes is indeed Mahomes and Andy Reid is indeed Andy Reid. But I don't know if that's enough, this season, quite honestly. The Packers looked elite. The Packers can genuinely beat the 49ers. I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe that. The Lions, I think they should smoke the Bucks. And I think they will smoke the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield, that's going to be a joke. In Detroit, he's not going to be able to handle that. No way. I bet you they get rocked. I bet you it may not end up being like a big massive win, but you will watch that game and say the Lions are clearly the better team and that the Bucks look outmatched and that Baker Mayfield looks overwhelmed. I am going to lock that down right now. The Texans versus the Ravens, that'll be an interesting game. I think the Ravens will handle that, pretty convincingly. And I think the Bills-Chiefs will be an interesting game, mainly because of unfortunate injuries for the Bills. But I think the Bills are definitely the better team.
Josh Allen, save us. I think Buffalo's offense looks like there's more to it. It's more layered. Anything bother you here?
No, nothing really bothers me. A couple observations. One is I agree with you. I was very impressed by Buffalo yesterday afternoon. Thought that was an excellent win. Now, I'm sure none of my colleagues will be impressed by Buffalo because nobody was impressed by the Chiefs beating the 6th seed by 19 points. So I can't imagine anyone is impressed with Buffalo beating the 7th seed by 14 points.
As we've been over this already, what the Bills did was so much more impressive than what the Chiefs did. The Dolphins were completely slaughtered on defense, okay? They already had a worse defense than the Steelers, and they were down so many players that were literally signing up practice squad dudes, dudes like literally just fresh off the streets. So yes. And Patrick Mahomes played inferior to what Josh Allen did against the Steelers, a better defense. So, yeah, it was less impressive. No ifs, ands, or buts.
But I was impressed by both games. But here's my other takeaway. You remember last week, Colin, how when on here you had the Lions ahead of the Rams, and I just came on and I told your audience, have them wherever you want. I guarantee during the Blazing Five, you're going to take the Rams and the points.
I did.
And you tried to push back, and then eventually you did it.
Yeah.
You have these rankings however you want. I guarantee come Friday, you are taking Kansas City +3. I'm not saying you're even going to pick them to win, but I want to bet on your bet because you are absolutely you're going to look at me like Patrick Mahomes in his career as an underdog. 8-1-1 against the spread and 7-3 outright. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab the points. And so that's what I project is going to happen here.
Yeah, I'm not pushing back on that now that you've put me in a corner.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
It's hard to bet. It's hard to give Andy Reid and Mahomes points. Listen, I think there are times I said I can defend every losing coach in the playoffs. Even Mike McCarthy, I can say, well, that was the best Dak I've ever seen, and they won 12 games. What I saw last night was Brandon Staley with the Chargers. Like a team that went from losing close to losing by a touchdown to literally the players are quitting. You can't bring that back in Philadelphia. That's a grown-up job, and at times, you had mentioned this, sidelines, tunnel, theatrics. It was like a kid that got a grown-up job and eventually was exposed. Yeah. I think you have to move off him, don't you?
100%. And there's a lot of reasons. Some you mentioned, some you didn't. First of all, Colin, before I get my full answer, tell me if you agree with me here. I've never seen, in my life watching football, I've never seen a team in the playoffs in the first quarter look as apathetic as Philadelphia
I agree.
did. On both sides of the ball, in my opinion, Colin, in the first quarter of that game, they looked like a team that was a 4-win team playing their final game of the year. That, to me, is a stinging indictment of the coach. So that's first of all. Second of all, here's the other problem for Nick Sirianni. Who is available? And so, I use you in a lot of the analogies when I'm talking to you, so I'll do it again. If there were a talk show host in Philadelphia that last year had done great and this year was mediocre, a little disappointing, but last year was really excellent, and then all of a sudden you quit Fox and you let everyone know, man, I'd sure like to work for WIP. That guy would lose his job even if he didn't deserve to. If Bill Belichick wants the Eagles job, even if the team didn't quit on Sirianni, you fire Sirianni to give Belichick that job. I also don't know what he does. He doesn't call plays. Right. He can't figure out his defensive coaching staff. His quarterback massively regressed this year, and that's the bigger issue for Philadelphia, the how good is Jalen Hurts really question. So, yeah, I think Nick Sirianni, I think Mike McCarthy and Nick Sirianni are both going to be looking for work this coming offseason, and I don't think either one of them are going to get head coaching jobs this offseason.
So I said about Baker Mayfield, you got kids, I got kids. Fit and environment for young people is important. And in Cleveland, a lot of pressure. Savior. But in Tampa, Baker Mayfield is viewed as, well, Tom got us a trophy. Let's see what Baker can do. It's like less pressure than Geno Smith in Seattle. It's like, we just got a trophy. Let's try it out. And I'm like, this Baker? Humbled Baker, low expectations? I would re-sign him. I would have no problem with a 3-year.
You got to re-sign him.
That's what I think, right?
You have to re-sign him. He's been, so listen.
Okay. I don't know if you have to, because it depends what you want. If you're the franchise of the Bucks and you think that and you want to win a Super Bowl and not just kind of be like competitive, well then the way you can win with Baker Mayfield is if you don't pay him a lot of money, right? You actually pay him like a mid-level quarterback because that is what he is, and then you beef up your roster, right? You spend a ton of money and that is the way, because you've never seen someone win in the NFL, a team that has an average quarterback, but you're paying him top level money, right? We've seen amazing elite quarterbacks get top level money and then able to, win. Then we've seen these other players who are average or great quarterbacks, but you're not paying them a lot of money. So then you're able to build the roster around. But we know you cannot pay an average quarterback amazing money, because then you can't build the roster up, and then the average quarterback is not good enough to overcome those deficits. That is who Baker Mayfield is. Let's not react here. Baker Mayfield, 22 for 36, 337 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. That is all, first off, majority of that came from yards after catch. That was all because the Eagles couldn't tackle, right? That was all because the Eagles were just, a complete disaster that, Nick and Colin just kind of outlined. So this isn't just like Baker Mayfield just lit the NFL up on fire, right? This wasn't what Love did, okay? This isn't what CJ Stroud did, all right? I mean, like, this isn't what Josh Allen did. This isn't even what Jared Goff did. So this idea that you're just going to re-sign, Baker, which I believe you will, but just know that unless you're getting a really good discount, what are you expecting to do with him? He's not going to lead you to a Super Bowl. I guarantee you, Detroit smokes the Bucs. Smokes them. Okay? I guarantee you we're going to watch that game, and for like no time are we going to really believe that the Bucs can win that game. Okay? Sure, the game might end up being by like a touchdown or something like that, but in no way are you going to say Baker Mayfield and the Bucs belong there. They really have a chance. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Where did you watch that game and see like electricity? Where did you see Baker Mayfield be electric? You did not. In fact, he took a handful of really, really, really bad sacks that if the Eagles were even just a little bit competent, they would have been able to seize the opportunity and would have been able to win. He also almost, had a couple interceptions that the Eagles weren't able to pull in, which could have really changed the game. So I think there's like this overreaction with Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, without a doubt. That was all about the Bucs playing a terrible team such as the Eagles. As noted, they only put up a whopping 9 points. And again, the fact that majority of the yards for Baker Mayfield came from yards after catch. It was something like, 60-some%. And so, it was insane. It was like 200 yards were, over 200 yards came, after the catch, and after contact too. It was insane. So make no mistake about it. Baker Mayfield is not some like great elite quarterback. He is an average quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's not great. He's not elite. And he is not leading your team to the Super Bowl unless you have an absolute stacked roster. And even with a stacked roster, okay, like we've seen kind of Dak Prescott have in years past, that still wasn't shown to be good enough, And so, you think Baker Mayfield is better than Dak? I don't. So the luxury is that you could potentially pay him a lot less, because I don't know if Baker Mayfield's in a position to be able to command a ton of money. I don't know if he's in a position to command some $200 million contract, even with a playoff win and playing for the Bucs. But, you sign Baker for a long-term deal and pay him too much money, then you're just saying, all right, we're going to be like kind of good. We're going to make the playoffs. We'll win a wild card round, maybe play a competitive next round, but that's about it. We're going to get smoked in the NFC Championship game every year, and we have no chance at winning a Super Bowl. So that's what you do if you want Baker as your long-term quarterback. And that's why, you're really kind of stuck when you have kind of like an average quarterback, because you're not good enough to really win, and you're not bad enough to get a good draft pick where now you can draft your true next elite quarterback on a great, cheap rookie deal. That is the secret. It's not even a secret anymore. That is the success in the NFL. That is how you do it. It's what we consistently see. It's what the Chiefs did with Mahomes. It's what the Eagles did with Hurts. It's what the Bengals did with Burrow. It's just what you do. And then once you start paying your quarterbacks, it gets really, really, really difficult. And you better hope you have an elite Hall of Fame coach and an elite Hall of Fame quarterback. Otherwise, it's tough sledding. But what do you all think? Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments below. And please, again, don't forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. Thanks so much, and see you next time.